Good morning, students. We are discussing on pavement design and highway construction. Our topic is construction of flexible pavement, wherein in today's lecture we will learn the wet mix macadam road procedure. Generally, wet mix macadam road is constructed for base course and the sub base course. Okay, in this lecture we will go the thorough construction procedure of wet mix macadam road. So let's start the lecture with the introduction of wet mix macadam road, that is known as the WMM road. Well, wet mix macadam construction is an improvement upon the conventional water-bound macadam road, and this construction is intended to be as an alternative and the more durable pavement layer. Wet mix macadam is a base or the sub-base course of the pavement, wherein clean, crushed graded aggregates and granular materials such as the graded coarse sand are mixed with the water and rolled to a dense mass on a prepared surface. The work may be done in different layers. The thickness of an individual layer shall not be less than 75 mm, and it can be up to the 250 mm. Well, if we talk about the physical requirement of the material that we used for wet mix macadam, those are the aggregates, specifically the coarse aggregate, and some fillers we are using. Let's talk on the physical requirement of the material that we are using for the wet mix macadam. The coarse aggregate shall be crushed stone or the crushed gravel, those not less than 90% by the weight of gravel that retained on 4.75 mm sieve. Such aggregate shall have at least 2 fractured faces. Also, if the water absorption value of the coarse aggregates is greater than 2%, the soundness test shall be carried out on the material with considering the Indian Standard Specification 2386 with the sodium sulfate, and the result of this test should not exceed 12%. With that also we have to do some aggregate test. Those are Los Angeles test, impact value test, the flakiness and elongation test, and the result of such test should not exceed 40% for the abrasion test, 30% for the impact value test, and 35% for flakiness and elongation test. So these are some specification, physical specification we can say, for the material, that is the coarse aggregate that we are using for the construction of wet mix macadam road. Now let's move on to the operation that we have to perform when you are constructing the wet mix macadam road. So as a construction procedure, the first step, that is the preparation of the sub base and the base course. The next step is provision of lateral confinement for the wet mix layer. Step 3 is preparing the mix. Step 4 is transporting and spreading the mix to the site. Then the compaction should be followed, and then after the road should be kept for setting. So let's discuss the detailed procedure. The step 1, that is the preparation of sub base or the base layer. Well, the work of laying the wet mix macadam shall not be started or shall not be done during the rainy season. Okay. Moreover, for the preparation of base or sub base course, the surface of the sub base and the base course that to receive the wet mix Macadam, course shall be prepared to the specified lines and the crossfalls. And also these are made free from the dust and other extraneous material present on the surface. Any ruts or the soft yielding places shall be corrected in an approved manner, and then after it should be rolled until the firm surface is obtained. If we found necessary, we can also apply the water with sprinkling. Now, laying of wet mix Macadam over an existing bituminous surface is completely prohibited. We are not permitted to apply the wet mix Macadam over an existing pavement. If we need to provide a surface, then for that we can use the water-bound Macadam road, but we cannot apply the wet mix Macadam over the existing pavement. Okay, so whenever we are preparing such courses, we have to deal with the compaction. During the compaction or after the compaction, if the surface you feel is very dry, so for that you can apply the water with sprinkling, and that sprinkling procedure should be copiously, or we can say the procedure should be homogeneous. Okay, now the next procedure that we have to follow after the preparation of base and the sub-base course, that is providing the lateral confinement of wet mix layer. Here in the figure you can see they are providing a confinement, okay, that is like such wooden places, wooden strips you can see over here in the figure, okay. These are the confinements so that the material will not go outside the construction zone or outside the construction area. While constructing wet mix Macadam, the arrangement shall be done for the lateral confinement of wet mix, so it will not swell out to the border lines. Okay, this shall be done by laying the materials of adjoining shoulders along with that of the wet mix layer. The sequence of operations shall be in a way that the construction of the shoulder is done in layer by layer, and each layer should match the thickness of adjoining pavement layers. Only after a layer of pavement and the corresponding layers in shoulder have been laid and compacted, and the construction of the next layer of the pavement and the shoulder shall be taken up. So all in all, this procedure saying that the confinement should be provided so that the wet material will not go outside. Okay, the next is that whenever you are given the confinement and then you are applying the material, those materials should be layer by layer, and the next layer should only and only then constructed when you feel that it has the homogeneous thickness, it has matched adjoining pavement thickness. Okay, now after providing the confinement, we have to prepare the mix. So the step 3 is the preparation of mix. Well, to prepare the mix, the material should be stockpiled with the front end loader. Okay, before sending the mix for laying, the stockpile shall be watered and homogeneously mixed and loaded to the dumper. In other cases, wet mix Macadam shall be prepared in an approved mix plant with the suitable capacity requirements. In exceptional cases, for a small quantity of wet mix work, the mixing shall be done in ordinary concrete mixture. But if for the larger work you must have to adopt a approved dumper with the proper or with the sufficient capacity so that the laying procedure can be done continuously without any breaking. Now, optimum moisture content or the optimum moisture for mixing shall be checked and confirmed. Okay, while adding the water in the mixture, the due allowance should be made for the evaporation losses also. However, at the time of the compaction, water in the wet mix should not vary by more than 2%. Okay, so if during the compaction the water will come out more than 2%, that will create the loose material of such mixture. Okay, after this procedure, the next step is transporting and spreading of mix. Once the mix is prepared in the plant, it should be transported and then after it should be spreaded. The spreading should be done uniformly and evenly upon the prepared subbase and the base course with the required quantities. Now, holding of the mix over a freshly compacted stretch is not permitted. Transportation of the mix is usually done by tipping trucks in order to avoid the moisture loss in the transit due to the evaporation. This mix should be covered with the tarpaulin. The material is usually kept wet during the transportation and laying to reduce the likelihood of the particle segregation. The mix may be sprayed by a paver finisher. However, in a case of multi-layer construction, the bottom layer may be allowed to be laid by mortar grader. So after the spreading of mix, we have to adopt the compaction procedure. So whenever we are adopting the compaction procedure, we must have to see that the pavement is getting its required thickness. Okay, and for that the grade and crossfall should be maintained throughout the surface. So whenever you are applying the rolling, the speed of roller shall not be exceed 5 km/h. Formulation of compaction methodology to meet the compaction requirement with the specification that shall be based on the trial section. In the portions having unidirectional crossfall, the rolling shall commence from lower edge and it should be progressed or proceed to the upper edge. Thereafter, roller should progress parallel to the center line of the road and uniformly overlapping of each layer, proceeding the track by at least 1/3 width until the entire surface has been rolled. While in the portion of the camber, the rolling should be begin at the edge with the roller running to the forward and backward until the edge has been compacted firmly. The roller then progresses gradually towards the center line of the road, uniformly overtopping each of the proceeding track by at least 1/3 width. So such compaction procedure should be continuously done till the pavement is get completely compacted. Rolling should be done when the subgrade is soft or yielding or when it causes a wave like the motion in the subbase or the base course. Okay, if irregularity developed during the rolling which exceeding 12 millimeter when it tested with a 3 meter straight edge, the surface should be loosened and pre-mixed material added or removed as required before the rolling. In no case the unmixed material should be used to make up the depressions. Okay, as loose and segregated defective areas shall be made with the good to the full thickness of the layer and again it should be recompacted until the specified density achieved throughout the entire layer. After compaction, setting and drying should be done. The wet mix macadam road shall be allowed to dry for 24 hours before the priming. So this was all about the operations that we have to follow to construct the wet mix macadam road. Thank you so much students for your kind attention. With this, I am concluding today's lecture. We'll see you in the next session.